Thank you, Eddie. Well, former Premier Kathy Dunderdale says she never would have sanctioned the Muskrat Falls project without the federal loan guarantee, but it turns out that's what she did back in 2012. Dunderdale also made some revelations on deals that never were with Ontario and Quebec. NTV's Michael Connors joins us live with more on our top story. Michael?
Thank you very much, Lynn. For the second straight day, Kathy Dunderdale listed something that might have been a showstopper for Muskrat Falls back in 2012, but it turns out delays in the loan guarantee didn't stop the show at all. A pivotal moment in Kathy Dunderdale's premiership was the day she made peace with Prime Minister Stephen Harper to get the federal loan guarantee for Muskrat Falls. Ottawa agreed to back $6.3 billion in loans for Nalcor and Emera, giving them a AAA credit rating so they could borrow at a lower interest rate. $5 billion was covered for Muskrat Falls and the Labrador Island Link, and $1.3 billion for the Maritime Link. The provincial government had always insisted that Muskrat Falls was viable without the loan guarantee. But today, Dunderdale said she would not have approved the project without it.
And I wasn't prepared to go to sanction without a loan guarantee in place, an MOU in place with the Prime Minister.
But that is exactly what she did. The government approved Muskrat Falls in December of 2012, thinking the loan guarantee had been locked down. But not all the conditions had been met. The Maritime Link had to be approved by the Nova Scotia Utilities Board first, and that did not happen for several more months.
And I can tell you that was a shocking revelation, and it was a time of very high tension.
So that if the Nova Scotia UARB didn't approve the project, then that would have been the end of the Muskrat Falls project?
That would have been the end of the loan guarantee.
Yeah.
And it could have been the end of my political career, depending on where the rest of my cabinet and caucus were.
The Nova Scotia Utilities Board hearing was a point of contention between Dunderdale and then Nova Scotia Premier Darrell Dexter. The UARB was given a much wider mandate to review options than the PUB was. Dunderdale's testimony described the Nova Scotia government as being in a similar frame of mind as Newfoundland and Labrador. It potentially could have imported cheaper power from Hydro-Quebec in the short term, but was more interested in building a second transmission route so it would not be captive to a single partner when it came time to renegotiate in the future.
And I remember Premier Dexter talking to me about that and saying, I can't touch it, because if I do, I'm going to get a really good deal now, and then the Maritime Link doesn't happen. And then when the PPA is the term is complete and I got to go back to renegotiate again, I'm in a vulnerable position again now, because now I don't have any leverage.
In another revelation, Dunderdale says former Quebec Premier Jean Charest approached her in 2011 about partnering with Ontario to resurrect the larger Gull Island project. If Ottawa would spend $3 billion on transmission infrastructure in Quebec, then Quebec would allow a corridor from Labrador to Ontario. But Harper rejected that proposal.
And the thing fell apart. And I've thought about it often, because while Prime Minister Harper may not have considered it, I have a funny feeling that perhaps Prime Minister Trudeau might have.
And Kathy Dunderdale will be back on the stand tomorrow as this phase 1 of the Muskrat Falls inquiry winds down. And just on another note, Premier Dwight Ball and Natural Resources Minister Siobhan Cody have been granted standing for phases 2 and 3 of the inquiry. Phase 2 gets underway in February. Lane?
Thank you very much. NTV's Michael Connors reporting live this evening from our newsroom.